This video is brought to you by Island Marine Rentals. 6 myths about paddleboarding you must never believe. Stand-up paddleboarding is a new water sport that has taken the interest of a lot of people. It is a really fun activity and perfect exercise. There are a lot of discussions about safety, gear, and learning how to use a stand-up paddleboard. However, you should not believe everything you hear because there is a lot of false information circulating about the sport. Here are 6 of the most common paddleboarding myths you thought were true. 1. Stand-up paddleboarding is hard to learn. The first question every beginner has when starting to learn paddleboarding is always, is paddleboarding easy to learn? Well, learning a new sport usually takes a lot of time. There are certain moves or conditions to learn in order to be good at it. That can also be applied to stand-up paddleboarding. If you decide to do stand-up paddleboarding, you have to learn all the moves and conditions. When learning, it is best to start small and work your way to being an expert. You must know the best conditions to learn the sport. Just a touch of calm water, light wind, and a stable paddle is all you need to have your first ever experience paddleboarding. Learn to pick your weather conditions and you will find yourself having the time of your life while learning. 2. It takes super strength for paddleboarding. When you search for photos of paddleboarding on the internet, you will see all these people who have healthy and fit bodies with bulging muscles. This may lead you to believe that if you don't have enough muscle and body strength, you will not have a chance to learn paddleboarding. That belief is false. Stand-up paddleboarding does not require anyone to have a superhuman body to learn the sport. It doesn't matter what body type you have, the most important thing about the sport is the technique. It is always about the practice and ability. Just be consistent in paddling, and you will get stronger and better at stand-up paddleboarding. 3. The ocean is the only place you can paddle on. If this myth were true, less than half of America's states would have a place for stand-up paddleboards. But since it isn't true, you can paddle anywhere you have knee-deep water. Although the experience won't be the same in the ocean because the waves are much bigger there, it will still be a good place to practice and have fun with your friends. You can simply go to your local lakes, set down your paddleboard, and practice. 4. People who are too old, young, or overweight cannot do stand-up paddleboarding. The only way to debunk this myth is to say that as long as you are able-bodied and can handle the water, you are good to go. To clarify, here are the reasons this myth is false. Old people, age is never an issue in paddleboarding. If the body does not have any restrictions and the person genuinely enjoys the water, they can participate. Young people, like any other sport, it is never too early to start. Kids as young as 5 years old may have a harder time to learn it because of the size of the board. But once they are big enough for their own paddleboard, they can easily join the others. Just keep a close watch and make sure they are closer to the shore, and they are good to go. Overweight people, paddleboards can handle riders weighing up to 300 pounds. Some people actually use this sport to have a healthier lifestyle and lose weight. 5. Paddleboarding is dangerous. Is paddleboarding dangerous? You must have heard that question a million times. People who don't know anything about the sport are the first ones to dismiss the fact that paddleboarding is a fun sport and is safer than most. Like any other sport, there are a lot of safety measures in order to avoid accidents. You must pick the best condition before paddling, and many more. However, stand-up paddleboarding is actually safer than most because it takes place at low speeds and in light winds. The only thing you have to keep in mind while paddling is the basic safety rules you should apply to all water activities, such as always wearing a life jacket, having a partner with you, checking the weather conditions, and avoiding paddling after dark. 6. Paddleboarding is expensive. Stand-up paddleboarding is not expensive. If you do not intend to paddle regularly, renting a paddleboard is the best option. Island Marine Rentals offers the best paddleboard and boat rental service in Madeira Beach, Florida. They provide the best rental services at a very reasonable price. You can drop by and choose a paddleboard that will be best for you, and you can have an exciting time doing stand-up paddleboarding. Call us today at 727-595-0000.